Welcome guys to the Raising Light Babies podcast, episode 4. So here we are. The sun has come out. Finally, it's 7/7, and it feels like the end of this crazy waiting period in an elevator where we were all like different. We were all dressed up for the gala, but we hadn't gotten there yet. And we're just wondering, like, what's it gonna be like? How's it gonna be? Am I overdressed? Am I underdressed? Like, what's the food gonna be like? Who's gonna be there? Is that guy I like gonna be there? Waiting for me outside of the elevator? No, I'm kidding. Anywho, I'm here. We made it. 7/7/7. We made it, y'all. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is this revelation that I had a few days ago, which reminded me of the time when I was pregnant. Now, why, might you ask, is this important? Well, first I'm going to tell you about the time. So, when I was pregnant, my mother had just passed away. I had this business, and I was able to do all the work at home, from home, and I just outsourced the front end while I went on quote-unquote maternity leave. So I wasn't going out anymore. I wasn't traveling to see my clients. As moms may know, that last month can be quite uncomfortable. So I just stayed home. But I went through my entire pregnancy while my mom was in hospice care, so in her end stage of life, which was a very difficult time, very emotional time, very dark time. She had a quite long ending, which allowed a lot of people to come and pay their last respects to her while she was still alive. But that was extremely emotional, seeing people say goodbye, and speak of all of the impact that she had on her life. And that's what I lived while I was pregnant. Before this, she had been sick for about 6 years of going in and out of chemotherapy, and my defense mechanism had totally been to overwork myself. I had 3 jobs, but the moment I got pregnant, I realized, whoa, all this stress, all this running around is not going to be healthy for my son. I had this shift happen to me where I went from running from my emotions to having to stand still, because I realized that the stress, the grief that I was feeling was not going to be healthy for my baby. So when I became pregnant, when I found out that I was pregnant, I had to shift from giving mode to receiving. And that was a very profound experience in my life. So when 2 months before my due date, I still worked from home on my laptop, but I completely gave up everything. And so last week I was reminded of this time in my life where I had to go from giving to receiving. And I felt like God was showing me, like, remember how you received from me when that baby was growing in your belly? Remember how you received the grace to deal with this? Everything I needed came to me. Complete and utter provision from God. using the hands and feet and well-being and willpower of those around me, to whom I'm grateful. But God reminded me what it meant to receive. And what it means is to go from here, where we're giving, where we are pushing out our energy into the world, to here, where we're just being. We're just knowing. We're expecting. I know that a lot of y'all can relate to this. The feeling of expecting, of growing a human being in your womb. You don't have to do anything. Whether you're doing anything or not, the baby is coming. The baby is growing. The deed is done. So I really wanted to share that today. That there is a time and a place for everything, right? I think it's the book of Proverbs. There's a time and place for everything under the sun. It's in playing this dance between receiving, being receptive, and taking action. You see, I'm a Sagittarius. And in my nature, I identify 100% with the archer, with the throwing of arrows. When you are going for your target, you're not going for the outer rings. You're going for the bullseye. But until you see the target, until you see the bullseye, there's no point in throwing your arrows. There's no point in shooting. So this part of life in which is not ecstasy, which is not high vibration, the parts in life when we have to go deep, it's so that we can see the target. It's so that we can differentiate the bullseye from the trees or the distractions or from all the other stuff that's not important. Because there is nothing like difficult times to give you some clarity, my friend. And it's important for us to understand that and allow that for our children as well. Because we are raising the men and women of tomorrow. Right now, they're in this space of incubation, which is childhood, where the consequences, they're like in a practice dome. They're like in the Truman Show, where life is happening to them, but we as our parents still have this dome of protection over them, which protects them from any real significant consequence. But sooner or later, it's going to be time for them to walk out of that dome that we've created for them. So why not allow them to experience as close to real life as possible? So they have time to prepare. So they have time to train. So they have time to understand. Anyways, y'all, I hope this helped. And if you like what you hear, I encourage you to subscribe. But if not, keep it pushing, baby. Don't let me stop you. Because this is what it is. It's weird. Bye, guys.